Asha Edmund, and you're watching the Channa 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 podcast. My hair.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my podcast. We have a very special guest today joining all the way from Singapore. We have Asha Edmund joining the podcast. Hi Asha,
Hi. Hi, Channa. It's good to be here.
welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I've watched you and I've seen your interview. I watched you with Teague Bass. Yeah, and a couple of other stuff interviews. So it's been good. You're very
Right,
um you're very sincere and you're a music lover. So yeah,
right.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, Asha, I would like to say I really love your outfit.
Thank you. Yeah, this is like sort of like this particular jacket I got from Indonesia, and it
Right,
was hanging there, and it came with actually a jumper underneath. So it came with like a two piece. But I haggled with the lady and I argued with her till she sold me the jacket without the jumper.
right.
So I walked away leaving because I loved it so much. I like these ethnic looking, and I just happened to find it in Indonesia. So
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Because first time I saw your like photo on Ye Plus, I really like you had that headdress. I think is it from Thailand the head the dress that you were wearing headpiece.
Oh no, that one is actually they're all designed. I have a stylist, a designer, and he designs all my headpieces. Like I have two of them that work with me. So yeah, it's all very carefully pieced together. It's not the easiest thing to do because especially when I'm on stage and I move so much, it's one of the harder things to create and to make an artist wear. Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, yeah, I love them all. They're all
So,
different. Yeah.
so Asha, how's it going within Singapore with the pandemic and everything? How everything is going?
Um, I think we're lucky. Singapore's we've been a very lucky bunch. Everything it's our lives are pretty much the same, except for the fact that we have to wear masks, social distance, and we can't travel out. That's the drawback because we're in such a small country and we can't travel out.
Right,
And and then that's getting on everybody's nerves. I think we're all frustrating each other. So, but other than that, I think we've been one of the lucky countries. We're quite, we everything's just normal. I mean, we're opening up. I'm still waiting for the clubs to open up in the sense where DJs can go back to work and really actors and performers can go back to work. Because right now, um, they only have like a certain amount, like 250 capacity or less in a it doesn't work if you have a 3,400 seater auditorium or 1,300 seater
right,
auditorium, right? It looks empty even at full house. So let's hope that they get back to at least 50% because they allow that in the cinemas for some reason, but not in theater and definitely not in the clubs. The DJs are all not working. So yeah, but other than that, I can't complain. We all have our health, we have food, we have roof overhead, there's peace. So there's a lot to be thankful for. Yeah.
right. So when did you
What about you?
last? When did you last perform live?
Oh, that was for oh, you mean live as in with an audience?
Yeah.
Oh, Shana, you're killing me, Shana. Yeah, this was this was one more than a year ago. This was before COVID. This was in October 2019. Yeah. That was the
Right,
last gig, and then COVID, and then we were supposed to have another gig in March. And then that's exactly when everything just collapsed and like shut down and like so I've not been on stage in front of a lovely audience for a year now, more than a year and a half. Yeah.
right, right.
Awful, right? It's
Yeah,
awful. It's like, we're having all these withdrawal symptoms. Yeah. But I channel it. I do my best to channel it and take it positively. And we have Yay Plus now. Yay Plus is fabulous team. So there are outlets that you can actually, work towards presenting yourself in a different space. So I hope everything opens up, and I know that you love going to concerts and stuff. So this must definitely be not easy for you as well. You see, I know I
Yeah,
did my homework, Anna.
yeah, because the last concert I actually attended was in March 2020, just before everything started lockdown. And previous year in 2019, I actually attended 60 concerts that year. But in 2020, I only went to 8.
And it 60 concerts in which year?
In 2019.
60 as in 60.
Yes, 60.
Oh my gosh. You're a touring enthusiast. You're like, you seriously, you on
Yes.
tour. Channa, that's amazing. 60 shows. You really love music, and like that's awesome, Channa. I mean, we wish more people were like you, and like, come out to the shows and support the artists. That's great.
Yeah.
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 Yay.
So Asha, before we talk about music, I would like to hear a little bit about your childhood and like what's your like earliest memory of music.
Oh wow. My earliest memory of music. Gosh, you mean me singing or me listening to music?
Probably like listening to music.
I don't have that memory, but it's something that my mom told me that um, I used to walk around the house doing, because I think music was always in my life. I don't know when it started, when I actually picked it up, because it would have been even when I was in my mom's womb. Because my
Right.
family is very musical. So it was always there. It was like the default. You wake up in the morning, some people hear roosters, I hear music,
Right.
So yeah, so it was just like that. I guess in my mom's womb, she would have been singing to me. My dad too. She herself loved to sing. She was not a singer, but she loved to sing. And my dad was very, very, very talented. So I don't think that I can tell you a time, but I can tell you a time when she found out that I could sing and memorize words and like the whole song is when she heard me sing this Maggie Me. You know Maggie Me,
Right.
the instant noodle of all things, right?
Right.
Yeah. She heard me sing this Maggie Me jingle, and I was only 2, and I remembered it and the melody and all clearly. But the only thing I would change are the words. I would say Maggie Gundles. So they had this Maggie noodles fast to cook, good to eat. Maggie noodles fast food, good to eat. So, but I would say it because I was only 2 and I couldn't articulate my words. I'll say Maggie Gundles fast to cook, good to eat. So she heard me singing that and full sentence, proper
Right.
lines, and yeah. So she said there's something there. But obviously, as a mom, you don't want to act on it because your mothers can be, you don't want to overestimate. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So she sent something there, but she wasn't sure yet. But yeah. So I think, but music wise, it's always, I cannot tell you, it's just been there. Yeah.
Right. So do you what sort of music did you listen to when you were growing up?
Oh man, because we didn't have our own Discman and our own like iPods and all that. In that time it was all very centralized listening,
Yeah.
very communal listening. So we listened to what our parents listened to, right? And my parents had impeccable taste in music. They were fantastic. So I grew up with Motown. I grew up with a lot of good jazz. I grew up with funk. You name it, man. I grew up with rock, everything. So Indian classical music was also a staple, and Western classical music. So every morning was classical music, Western classical. They would wake us up with classical music. So it was great. I mean, we would grumble and stuff, but now when I
Right.
look back, oh, that was great. That was a good decision. Yeah. So it was just I was lucky that I had parents who were plugged into such good music, from Deep Purple to uh, Elvis to Barbra Streisand, Frank Sinatra, all the good guys, Motown, everything with Motown was great. I mean, like, I've yet to find something that sucked. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, don't play me something that sucked. Yeah. So yeah, everything. So that was my house, and that was my home. But in my grandfather's home and in my uncle's homes, it was the same thing. In my grandfather's home was worse because there were always people coming to the homes and like coming to his home and like jamming with us and musicians. So it's just filled with music and food. These two things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, when do you remember like what was your like first performance to an audience?
Oh yeah, yeah. That one I remember. I was very young. I was seven, maybe 7 or 8, and I took part in this. I think I was 7 or 8, and I took part in this church talent time. And my mom didn't know because she wasn't there that day, and I, convinced my auntie to let me go on stage to sing a song because they were having this Christmas church talent time. So I said, okay, let me go on. My mom, she was strict. There were things I could not do, books I could not read, music I could not listen to. I like it today. When I look back, I like it. I like that she had a bit of control. So obviously she was not going to let me go on stage at that age, right? But she wasn't there that day. So I convinced my auntie. And my auntie put me on, my poor auntie. And I got on stage and I sang this song. I don't know whether I think it's called More Than I Can Say. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Song. Do you remember
Yeah.
that song? So I sang that song, and everybody was shocked because I remember the whole song, and I sang it confidently. And I won the talent time.
Right.
My mom was so mad. She was so mad. Not mad that I won, mad that I sang that song because she thought that was not a child-friendly song at all.
Right.
Yeah, so she said that was just a bad song to sing. Like, I said, but I like that song because I'm a kid, right? So she made me take part again the next year just to correct the song. Can you believe it? So I think what song that I don't know what I sang that. I can't remember which song I sang, but it was a better song with better words. I can't remember. The song fails me, and I don't want to give you the song because it may be my competitor's song at that time. Because I can't remember which song I sang.
Right.
Now, so I go back to this contest, I take part, sing a better song which she thinks is child friendly, better lyrics, so that people remember me for the right things. And I win again.
Wow.
So I win again, and I'm getting excited now. Young, right? I like the attention and all the. I was just waiting for the prizes. I was just a kid, right?
Right.
They give you a whole box of prizes, and like, oh my god, prizes! I tried to take part again the third year, and I was banned from talent time in that church. Banned. I couldn't take part anymore after that.
Right. Right.
So that was my first time experiencing an audience, and I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Right. So Asha, as a singer, who do you think your influences are? Like your top 3 influences?
Definitely Elvis. Elvis is number one. Um, I love Elvis for everything. His style, his obviously he was brilliantly talented, and the fact that he learned from other kings, and he has this whole black influence that I like because he used to watch them,
Right.
which is very similar to me because growing up I was not plugged into anything that was remotely Indian, except for Indian classical music. Like whatever they were having in the cinemas and on movies did not resonate with me at all. But it was always black music, black TV shows that I connected with. So I had that similarity with Elvis. I understood that he was looking for something in others, right? So, and also he was very flamboyant. So a lot of my style and a lot of my today, what I want to look like project is a lot of it comes from him. So I look at Elvis. Yeah, Elvis is number one. A lot of men were the ones that I was looking to because they were always a little. I mean, women, I love them. They're great artists, right? But I don't know why. I was always looking at what the guys did, like what Michael Jackson was doing, Prince was doing, you name it, James Brown, yeah. Frank Sinatra, particularly, was also stylish. And these are my influences. It's very old school. Today, I think the person that I would look up to, I really do like, and I look up to, and I actually I'm always reading up on him and finding what he's doing next. It's The Weekend.
Right.
Love The Weekend. Wow. I just look at him and I say, I love this guy. And I also like Childish Gambino. I like them because they're not very caught up in the whole celebrity world.
Right.
So I love them for that. They do great work and they unplug. And you don't hear about them. And I just love that about them. They're so, but they're so, I love their work and the way that they handle this whole fame game, the fame, you know what I mean? And
Right.
also Pharrell is something I like. Pharrell is someone that's very light, very happy, very stylish. He does his own thing. Yeah. So there are a few of them now that I think are great. So yeah, it's always men. And I'm sorry, it's not about, I have nothing against women. I love women. I'm a woman. I don't know why it's always been men. Yeah.
Right. So I read that you were recognized as the Queen of Soul of Singapore, right?
Yeah. That was by a magazine many, many years ago. I think they were promoting um, some show. I think it was 8 Days or Line magazine that had put a picture and below it they put the words Queen of Soul. And I found it quite amusing because I was really I was very new. I was a newcomer, you know what I mean? And then it was so early, I thought the first thing thought about when I saw it, I said, so soon? You know what I mean? I just felt like it was a bit soon, but it was flattering in the sense that it's very nice when I didn't even think about it at that time because it just rolled off me, other than me saying it's so soon, right? But now when I look back at it, I think it was nice because it's everybody telling you or someone telling you where you could actually go. So I like that it was encouragement, I think. Yeah. So it was actually a magazine that stated that. I've been called many things, really. They've always compared me to Aretha, to Tony Braxton, to Shaka Khan. I mean, what better names?
Right.
Thank you, right? Thank you. I mean, what better names? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, when I listen to your music, there's this one artist that comes to mind. Crystal Waters. Uh,
Yes. Oh my God. I have been waiting for years for someone to tell me I'm like her. I love her. Yes.
yeah, you remember that song 100% Pure Love?
Yeah. She's, I mean, and it's just not her music, it's her persona, like everything that she embodies. I recognize that in myself. So I'm
Hmm.
saying, like, when will someone say I'm like Crystal Waters? I would be so flattering. And like now you say it. Yay! Yeah, I love her. She's class act, diva, queen,
Right,
fabulous.
right.
Yeah.
So Asha, how was your early career? So can you tell me a little bit about, like, you were performing in clubs and you were performing in theater as well, little bit, right? Can you tell me that journey?
Okay. Performing in clubs. Okay. You mean what do you want to know, when I started performing in clubs,
Yes,
or?
right. Yeah.
Oh, I started because like my first gig was, I think, first time I performed in a club was probably at number 5 in Singapore. It was very unplugged set. I think a lot of artists out there were unplugged, with a guitarist, all the top 40 stuff, people sort of making requests. So I did all that. Yeah.
Right.
And that was like a pub. And then I moved on. I didn't want to do that anymore because I didn't see myself as somebody in the club saying top 40 hits and like, night after night. So I didn't see myself as that type of performer, no disrespect. But that was not what I wanted to do. So I said, I have to come out of this. And how am I going to do this? So I had to position myself, and I was still studying at that time. I was in school studying theater. And yeah, the opportunity came for me to actually cut an EP. Yeah. So it took me out of the club, out of this pub thing, because I didn't want to do that acoustic thing. And I stayed out of the clubs for a bit. Did you want to know on stage as well? What was the
Yeah.
question again, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then it took me out because I was already in school. And I think I had already been on stage before school a couple of times, here and there, dabbling and stuff. But during school, because I was already in theater, so it put me on stage. I was learning the ropes behind backstage and on stage. So I think that was just a natural progression because I was on stage already in school and then professionally outside. My focus on music came when I did after I did the musical Rent. So when I was signed to the label, actually before while I was in school, because my dean told me to actually do something with my music. So it's because of him that I recorded my first EP and I released it. It was actually a school project, and it was with his blessing. So instead of producing something to do with theater, that year I did something with music because he had instructed me to do it. And thank you for that because that opened so many doors for me. And then I landed a role in musical theater, and then a recording contract, and then it just went on. And then I got tired of this whole pop game, this whole pop thing where this commercial, the commercial route. It's very demanding space, the commercial route, and I was not that wired that way. So I wanted to know what was my purpose. Why was I doing it? What was the reason I was given a voice? All these things. So the commercial route wasn't giving me the answers. So I took. So that's when all these things, these articles and people calling me the Queen of Soul, because it was a very commercialized route. So people they're constantly labeling you something to promote something, right? So I had to take myself out of it because I just didn't want to do it that way anymore. And that's when I started doing house, because I found a space that was experimental and I could just make the music I wanted to make. And I could sing the way I wanted to sing. I didn't have to sound like a diva with a big voice all the time. I could go soft, I could go loud, I could talk. I could play with it. So, and that's why I stayed for quite a few years. And then the clubbing thing was after that was consistent because I switched to house.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that was a story.
Yeah. So your house music, I saw that I saw this, the earliest song that I saw was "Carry Me Over," right? That was what, 2009?
Yeah, it's one of the few. And earlier than that, I think it was Oblivion by Bang. I'm not sure if Oblivion was before Carry Me Over. Carry Me Over, I think I recorded it maybe before Oblivion, but the release, I think, if I'm not wrong, because my dates are all screwed,
Right.
it was Oblivion that was first, I think. Yeah, I mean, release wise, but recording, it could have been Carry Me Over. Yes. But it was already in pop when I did my pop album. I was already moving towards house because I was already in Germany. I was already plugged into that whole DJ and that whole vibe.
Right.
So there was one track that had a little bit of that disco, two of them actually. So I was really pulling myself out of this whole R&B thing, which I was very, very disillusioned with. Yeah. So yeah, the track wise, I don't really know which one came first, but I know the recording was probably Carry Me Over.
Right. So you mentioned Oblivion. So that's a collaboration with Bangana, right?
Yes, Suma Magan. Also, because when I first heard them, I was like, I want to work with these guys. I don't know whether they will ever work with me. So
Right.
yeah, I reached out to them and sent them some stuff, and we spoke for a bit, and immediately they wanted to work with me. So I said, "Oh my God, I'm working with Suma Magan." I'm
Right.
like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah, because these are guys that I listen to all the time. Like I love their work, and there's so much respect for them. And then when it finally comes the time when you work with them, and then Rasmus, when he remixed, I'm like, Rasmus is the ultimate musician and DJ. No, I don't know whether he DJs, but I think he does. But ultimate musician, and yeah. So it was very flattering when they won. I was so grateful and thankful that I had that opportunity. Yeah.
Right. So where was this recorded, Oblivion?
I believe it was recorded here. I wasn't in Sweden that time, so I think it was, if I'm not wrong, I recorded it here. I can't remember where I was when I recorded it, but I was not there. Yeah.
Right. Um, Asha, but I saw the music video that's in your YouTube channel, which I would like to talk about. It's really an amazing video that you put out for this, right? Oblivion.
Yeah, that was a recent one. That was because of George Floyd
Right.
problem, right? So I sent an email to them asking if I can use the track because it's all heavily guarded, the music. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's so protected, it protects itself against the artist. I'm like, oh my god. Okay, so I asked them for permission to use the track, and they said okay, and then I used it, and I think in the George Floyd moment, I felt so weakened. I was so weak, I felt so I wanted to put my hand into the screen and pull him out, right? But you're helpless when you're watching someone die.
Mm.
So I said, what can I do? I need to do something to help to say something. So I decided to use this track and create a little video and put it out there. Just I think um, it's sort of to let people know how I'm feeling because I'm not tied to any cause, hashtag cause in any way, but I'm attached to what is right.
Right.
Right, so it doesn't matter whether it's Black Lives Matters or Me Too. I'm not attaching myself to all that. It doesn't matter. It's just that we do not, this behavior has to stop. Yeah, so that's what I believe in humanity. So I had to say something, and I had a song I think that works, and it happens to be Oblivion. So that's what I put out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tragic, such a tragic situation, and plus, I mean, it just came out in that instance, but it happens a lot, right? It's the other
Yeah.
cases doesn't show up. It happens like other
Correct.
places as well, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about it, Chana, because it's one of the things that has affected me deeply most of my life.
Mm.
Um, and it's not okay. And so there is something that we have to do about it. I think it's just our voices, and it's glad. I'm so happy that you're saying something about this and bringing it up because yes, it needs to change, and it's not just him. It's been going on, and there are no cameras there, and people have been struggling with this. And it's something that's real because I was in Detroit and I had a friend who was every time he would go out,
Mm.
it wasn't easy. Yeah, so it's real. It's real, and it's not something that they're making up. And everyone should be in a world where they feel safe. Yeah.
Yeah. So Asha, you mentioned that you did some projects with the Filipino artists, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. Oh yes, Jake Makabagal. Yes, because Jake and I will go back way back. We did Rent together because Rent was an all mostly Filipino cast with
Right.
maybe four Singaporeans. So uh, I did it for Jake because Jake wanted to do a project for during lockdown, and this was called the Pinoy Juice Project. So I actually sang a Filipino song, a classic, and learned it, and yeah, it was a very interesting project. I mean, I love being on it. I love the fact that learned a Filipino song. And yeah, it was just great to sing in another language. And Filipinos are so romantic, right? They're so
Right.
romantic, right? So the song it's a very romantic song. And I'm a very unromantic woman. So when I'm looking at the song, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a romantic song. Like, how the hell do you sing this song? So I had to redefine the song and sort of dedicate it to the higher power and light in the world, because otherwise I would not be able to sing that song.
Right.
I cannot sing that song to a man. Like that, you can forget about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you visited Manila?
Yes. Yes. I love Filipinos. I love being there. I had so much fun in the Philippines. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I love it. I love it there. I want to go back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Asha, I read about a couple of these instances of you that you actually performed for the Liverpool Football Club anthem, right? And I in Singapore National Stadium. Can you tell me about that experience?
Yes. Yeah, that was for the Liverpool match. Well, it was an interesting time in my life. I said that was the time when I was just everything was together when it was commercial world. So I was doing all these big shows and like traveling. They call you for all these things. So that was one of the gigs, and it was funny because after I came off it, some of my Liverpool friend fans, um, who they love Liverpool, they were like, "Do you know this guy who's standing there? Do you know who you just walked past? Do you know?" And I'm like, "No." No disrespect. I mean, I'm sure they're all great, right? Because I
Right.
love sportsmen. But also, like, I didn't know what was going on. Like, obviously, it's chaos, right? People stood near them because they're heroes and they're great athletes. But I had no idea. I mean, I knew it was Liverpool, but I just came in to do the gig and I left. Sing the song and I only learned the song like maybe 2 days before. I had no idea. I didn't even know the song.
Right.
So learned the song, and then they told me I'm going to do it a cappella, and I was like, oh my god, a cappella in the stadium. Okay,
Right.
so plugged me in, and then I just got and did it. I was numb. I didn't feel anything. Like it was a huge crowd, but I wasn't nervous, and that was troubling because I was not nervous. I'm always troubled when I'm not nervous because I have to be nervous. So I was not nervous. I was very calm. I just walked on and I sang the song, and I just think that I did not do as great as I just feel till today. I just feel that was a performance that it could have gone better, much better. Yeah.
Right.
But it was an honor, yeah, to sing the Liverpool. Is it the club theme song or something? The club
Right.
song. I think it's there. Yeah. So it was an honor, and yeah, I'm glad I got a chance to do it. It was a big match here. Yeah.
Right. I actually have a Singaporean friend who hates Liverpool because he's a Manchester United fan.
I know because I have friends also who are fans, and then when they find out that I actually sang for Liverpool, they're like, "What? You sang for Liverpool?" I'm like, "Look, don't get me wrong, that was just work. I'm just, yeah."
Right.
But I know Manchester fans do not. It's funny though. It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
it's not so cute in the UK though when they start fighting and
right. Right.
yeah.
But I don't think the Singaporean fans go into that extent of fighting, right?
No, it's so silly. It's sportsmanship, right? I mean, we should. All the clubs have really good players, and yeah, I just marvel at some of them who's the top guy now? What's his name? That young man who's on his. Is he already a billionaire? A very
Probably.
handsome boy. He's already a billionaire. I think that one player, like I can't remember his name now. Got very white teeth. He's very polished, and like I'm like, well, when I watch him play, this guy is really good. Like he's the cream. Yeah. So they do. I'm blown away by them as well.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
I've been listening to the songs you have in Spotify. Do you last couple of days when I was like doing the walks and stuff, I've been listening to your music. And there's one more.
Oh,
Yeah.
you are so good, and you're very organized. Because when you send me the email to like tell me when I should meet you and stuff, you're so organized and tidy. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
really Channa. Yeah.
one song that I like from that is Fast Forward. There's a song called Fast Forward.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
can you tell me a little bit about that song?
Fast forward was really when um I was in this relationship, and at the same time I was traveling a lot, and um every time I had to leave this guy and like go and try, it wasn't always comfortable. You don't want to be away from people that you love for too long. So, and this was in the UK. So
Mm.
I wrote fast forward because of that. I was like in a little bit of a tantrum I was having, not forgetting that I'm actually traveling and so lucky to travel. And I was throwing this tantrum like because I want to be with this guy. So it was that kind of thing. But it could be in any setting. where you like now in the pandemic, we want everything to move forward so we can get through it, over it, right? Yeah, so that's what fast forward is. It was really just me in that space, just wanting to be somewhere a little rooted because I was moving about so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that song. And then I also like the Never Give Up.
Yes, Never Give Up was recorded in London with Sean Ashby. It was very funny because I went to was it his home? I can't remember now. Yeah, I think I was in his home and then I wrote it very quickly. And yeah, it was, I still remember standing there, I think, and writing it and recording it. But it really is a feel good number, I think. Just not giving up on anything that you love or anyone that you love deeply. Sometimes you have to because people are not aligned with you, but you can still love them, and yeah. So yeah, it's that kind of message. You don't give up on anything because the next turn could have been something great. Yeah.
Right. So how long were you in UK? You were living there, or you were just doing performances, or what?
There for like in out for quite a while. And yeah, a lot of recording, a lot of work. My travels out have always been work related. I've never really gone on a holiday.
Right.
Which holiday did I go on? Maybe once to Bali. It was a holiday. But every trip that I make, is always work related. So, which is actually quite sad. But yeah. So that UK and all, everything was work related.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what I do. Like I travel a lot before the COVID, but it's always for concerts. Actually, I go to a concerts and then I will do the sightseeing and all that. But I main purpose was always going for a concert.
That's excellent. I just love the fact that do you actually meet the people that will you do it now? Because now that you will travel, you are Channa Channa Channa. So now when you travel and go to the concert, are you going to meet them backstage and actually talk to them? So now you have three things to do. You have to watch the concert, you have to be a
Uh,
tourist, and you have to be a journalist, right?
yeah, but actually, this thing. Let me tell you how this all these things started. So because I used to go to a lot of concerts, especially in Singapore. So I go to Singapore like every month. I'll be there for a weekend or a couple of days going
Oh,
for shows. Uh,
yeah.
and and then I started this as sort of a journal thing where I just did a video about what are the concerts I've been to and what concerts I'm going, sort of a thing. That's how it started early
Yeah.
on. And then I did a couple of recordings, and then I wasn't really inspired to do it anymore. And then once the COVID thing started, there was nothing else to do. There's nowhere to travel, so that's where I thought of maybe I can just talk to my friends about the shows we've been to and about this. So I started with talking to a couple of friends. Then the friends became bands, and then some artists wanted to talk, and then it it became a podcast. So eventually, after a couple of episodes, it became like a podcast.
Yeah, but it's great. I like that you have grown from it because I see your name everywhere. I see it quite a bit. So you've spoken to quite a lot of people, and that's a good thing, Chana.
Yeah,
And in such a short time. So I see you, going somewhere with this. And it's also a very interesting name, Channa 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 podcast. So it sort of catches your attention. Yeah.
yeah. It's well, I used to go on as a guest in the radio show. So one of the DJs, my friends, was calling me Chana Chana Chana. So that's how it started.
It's always like that. It starts with a bit of a nickname and like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You'd be surprised how these things can turn. Like someone calling you something, it can turn into something positive.
right. So Asha, this I want to talk about. You mentioned George Floyd's incident and all this, and then
Yeah.
when you look at like social media, where sometimes it's so toxic and it's always the division and all this. How do you see all these social media things?
I'm very vocal, Chana. I'm very vocal and I'm very optimistic. And I'm not a wet blanket. But at the same time, I don't look at the world through rose tinted glasses. I'm not. in denial. I know that there are issues. And when I see things on social media, I jump in, I say something. I don't keep quiet.
Mm.
So there is a lot of division. But there's also a lot of people, I think that in the similar, in a similar way where there are a lot of people also coming together to stop this. So I think social media sort of puts the magnifying glass on everything that's sort of negative, because somehow the people who are negative and cruel and mean are very loud.
Mm.
They have the loudest voices, right?
Right.
Yeah. And the ones that are really are not like that, they sort of like, "Ooh, what's going on?" It's the nice guys who keep quiet that, make things worse, actually, right? The good guys. So now, whenever I see something, I jump in and I say something, even if it means that someone's going to call me a name. Uh, I don't care. I just say it, because how do you change? How do you reshape everything if you're going to allow these guys to be the voices all the time on social media? Because we can sort of drown them out if we choose to speak up. You don't have to be there for hours arguing with them, but just say something positive, type something quickly and leave. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I do most of the time. I just type something on it and leave. Sometimes you'll find me engaging with somebody who's a bit of a jerk, and then I'll say that I've spent too much time with you and I move on. But I just try to be positive, and I check, because there's some some platforms that I feel like news platforms that I feel just stir trouble because of the articles that they put out. Yeah. So, and that doesn't sit well with me. So sometimes I have to sort of unfollow them, because I don't like the tone in which they're, you know, what the intention is. Because I don't know. I always feel like news can be is it's never an accident. It's never just news. It's always driven to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I'm careful about that.
yeah. I mean, it's not just like people are not putting article just for the sake of it, but there's always some sort of a narrative or some sort of
Yes.
agenda behind it, right?
And it affects people who are reading it. Their
Yeah.
judgment, everything. You put something about a bad Indian man, most people are going to start saying something negative about an Indian.
Right.
You put something bad about a Chinese woman, they will do the same thing. But I feel that they direct it, that they sort of create the space for these things to happen. They don't control the even the comments, they don't control. So I think they enjoy it because they want that. They want
Yeah.
that in their space, right? That kind of engagement. So I'm like, what is this? What is this creating? You know what I
Right.
mean? All cultures, everybody, we have the good guys and bad guys. If we keep focusing on what's good, don't you think if we magnify, it will multiply? I think that's a fact. So why are
Yeah.
we focusing on the good? You know what I mean? Because that should magnify. Everything that is good can correct what isn't, but we're not allowing it to happen. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it's very hard, because the world is so complex. Your voice is like so tiny, right? Even the big guys and giant superstars and all, if whatever they say gets lost, right? So, but you just have to be one of the soldiers and keep doing it. So I'm vocal, Channa. I will say it. If I see something, I'm gonna say it, but I'm not going to live in it. I refuse to be beaten down by this rubbish,
Mm.
and I will keep my head up and always look for something great and positive and the light, and the divine leading me. So no, it's not going to beat me down, but it's there. Yeah, you're right. It can be a very, very difficult place. I was off it for 5 years. I wasn't on social media for 5 years. I took myself off it because I couldn't take it. You know
Right.
what you're saying? Oh my God, I cannot deal with this. I'm going to be fighting with everybody, right? I
Right.
cannot deal with this because it's so bad. I took myself off it for 5 years to just think about what I wanted in my life and how I wanted to present myself in music and what I wanted to say, how I wanted to use the space. And it took me 5 years, and I finally came back in gingerly, ever so carefully. You know what I mean? And now I think I use it correctly. You know what I mean? I
Right.
feel I'm using it in the best way that I can use it. You know what I mean? Without it destroying me or like I'm also quite detached now. So whatever you say is like, okay, whatever. Yeah. So I don't carry it with me and it's ruining my whole day. You know, it's not like that.
Right. So with this, so the sort of overall negativity, one thing that I really love that happened last year is the A plus community, because A plus is about all about positivity, and so something like that. And can you tell me your journey of joining this A plus community?
Yes. I mean, okay. This goes back to my girlfriend, Noreen Hua. Okay. She is the one who contacted me and said, Yay Plus is looking for like artists and stuff. And I'm like, okay, let me go check out this Yay Plus. So I check out Yay Plus. Okay, I kind of like their mission. I like where they're directing this, what their intention is. I need to hear a bit more. So I think she connects me to Teague, if I'm not wrong, Teague Base, and I speak with him, and I like his energy. Teague is like, full of energy and
Right.
really a trooper. So I said, this guy's got great energy. And then I speak to John, and then I speak to Joe. And then John is amazingly nice and warm. And I said, I think you're on the right page. And when they sent me the contract and um, everything just worked out, it flowed. And it all started from my very good friend Nori, who's actually like a sister to me, who telling me that there's this someone's billing, telling me that Yacons is looking for artists and stuff. And I'm not really the kind to get attached to all these things because I've never really been a part of a community like that. I've always been a very solo driven artist. So okay, let's try this because I like the energy and I like where they're going with this because I'm all about being positive, you know what I mean, and being a light in the world. So let's let's see where this goes. And when I read the contract, how fair they were and how balanced they were, I said, okay, Ken, I'm on it. So now I have these brothers and these guys who are there and friends who've got your back. Like you feel you're not alone anymore. So that's awesome with A Plus. And John is a great. You can feel his soul because he's the CEO and he wants to. I mean, his intentions are good. He wants to build a great space on the internet, a positive place. Yeah, I'm all in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Asha, what are you working on these days, and what can we expect from you in the near future?
Oh, okay. Yes, I have to tell you, I have this character named Akun, and we have just launched a YouTube series. And so please go on to YouTube and look for Apun, Ahpoon. And that is Apun. It's just a character that tells you she's an uncommon Singaporean,
Right.
raised by a Chinese mother. So she has no connection to her Indian roots at all. She's just grown up in a typical Chinese environment. And so you just follow her life, like what she does every day, where she goes, or how she helps her mom, what she eats and stuff. So yeah, that's the new thing that I'm working on, and it's a monthly thing. So we have 2 shows every month, which we hope to increase to 4 shows every month. So
Right.
the shows are not that long. Every episode is like episodes are maybe about a minute and a half to about maximum maybe 4 minutes, and that might be split into 2 parts because we don't want to keep people on it for too long. We know how people are, nowadays they want bite-sized stuff. Yeah, so
Right.
for now the episodes are quite short until maybe if they request that they would like something a bit longer, we can sort of give it to them. So we're feeling our way through it. So that's one, Apun. Yeah. The other thing that we're working on is I've got a few um there's a new track that I'm hoping to release hopefully by the end of the year. It's a house track. Um yeah, we've got some plans for that one. That one is I can't say too much, but it's going to be interesting. Yeah, so I'm working on quite a bit. Yeah.
Right. So what's your message to people who support you and listen to your music, Asha?
Oh wow. A message. I think my message to people is really to um, listen. Yeah, not just in music, but listen when someone talks to you. Hear them. A lot of people don't listen. They hear them in the sense where it's fleeting or like maybe in out, but they're not really listening at sense, intently. They don't have that patience, I think, to take something in fully. So I think a lot of what I would say to everybody is listen, because we're not listening to each other. We're talking over each other all the time. So that's something even I have to learn, to listen so that we can move forward. Because when you start to listen and understand, then you realize, oh, okay, they're onto something. Maybe we can try it this way. And you start to look for solutions. And if you don't always listen to your own voice, so listen, really, really listen to someone else, especially when they're in trouble in any way. Yeah,
Yeah, because
nothing to
it's
do with music.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not just about like hearing them, right? Because you have to really understand what they're saying and you need to feel what they're saying, right? Because that's how
Yeah,
you
I think
really.
it's empathy. Empathy. A lot of people have something to say about empathy, and yeah, it's putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Um, if more of us did that, because we sort of, this world has come to a point where we tend to dehumanize someone when they're wrong,
Hmm.
and we have to stop dehumanizing people because people make mistakes. None of us are perfect. It's just that wherever you're at in your life, the mistakes sort of match and mirror where you're at in your life, right? So if you are like a leader in a country, if you are, you know, some giant, the mistakes are as big, right? So if
Right.
I'm here now as Asha, the mistakes that I make match whatever I'm doing in my life every day. So that's why I say dehumanizing someone is the worst thing to do, because in I believe in everybody there's something good. And that was rattled recently because I'm going to digress a bit, because I do not believe in the death penalty, right? I'm still against the death penalty.
Hmm.
But that was rattled a bit when there was this Indian family that killed this Burmese maid helper. Yeah. So, and the way they did it. So, for the first time in my life, Jana, no, actually, it's the second time. The first time was when it was some other lady who actually got a baby. I was on, I was with everybody. I could hear their voices and them crying for them to be taken out. And for the first time, I say, "Oh my God, I'm challenged. I'm challenged." Right? So
Hmm.
we're not perfect. None of us are. I'm not perfect. There are times when I feel like, "Oh my goodness, this one is so hard." But I managed to get out of it and say, "Okay, yeah, we have to help them." As much as all the number of bad words I had could write down for them, right? But yeah, and I came to that point where I realized, okay, if they need help, we have to help them. It was very hard to come there, because that's the human being I want to be, the human being that listens, and the human being that comes to a place where it's peaceful, even though it was hard, even though it was so hard to get there, right? To a point where it's peaceful. I still want to be that person.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because something just beat here.
Yes, I can hear you. Um.
Okay.
So Asha, anybody you want to shout out to?
I want to shout out to Teak Base and the Ye Plus guys. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Uh, to Noreen Hua, and my family, and yeah, everybody have a lovely Sunday. Those who are going to be watching this, uh, have a lovely time. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely week. Yeah.
Right. So Asha, thanks for joining the podcast. I really
Yes.
enjoy this conversation. And
Yeah. Same here, Chana.
yeah, I'm looking forward to your house tracks coming up, because I really love that music you put out. Uh,
Yay!
so
I'm
lastly, tell
glad that you
everyone.
like.
Yeah. So lastly, tell everyone how they can follow you on social media.
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. It's called Asha Edmund Socializes. I don't have to spell it out, right? Asha Edmund Socializes. And then you can find me on Facebook, Asha Edmund Music. So, and yeah, those are the two places in Apun. If you're interested in watching Apun every week, it's very localized. You can catch me there as well in a different, not as Asha, as Apun. Yes.
Right. So thank you, Asha, for joining. Have a great
Thank you
day.
so much, Channa, for having me. Have fun. Yay. You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
I adore your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Channa. Bye.
Bye.